What is the perfect rep range? This is a question that I find myself asked fairly often, nearly every time I get a new client, and I see it going about pretty often on the internet. A lot of people don't know how they should be working out. Are they to do 3 sets of 8? Is it 5 sets of 10? Is it 3 sets of 10? Or you better sticking with the low heavy weights of 3 to 5s or just 1 set to failure? There is a lot of different information out there, and what I'm going to try and achieve with this video is answering that question once and for all. This is usually a question wondered by kind of novices. Sometimes I do see it though with intermediates and people that have maybe been working out for a while, still not really understanding their rep ranges or even kind of why they're doing a certain rep range. There's a lot of conflicting information out there, and it's hard to know where to start. The first thing that we often hear when it comes to the perfect rep range, or maybe the kind of first bit of entry level information that you'll get, is your 1 to 5 reps is for strength, and your 5 to 15 reps, or your 5 to 10 reps is hypertrophy, and then 12 and up is endurance. There was a study that kind of flips this idea on its head, and that is where they trained people in a variety of rep ranges, and they found that people would see a positive and kind of equated response to hypertrophy, that being the growth of muscle, from anywhere from 3 reps to 30 reps. Now, you'll not see a lot of people trying to do 3 reps for hypertrophy, and you'll probably not see a lot of people trying to do 30 reps for hypertrophy. But the main point is that essentially they found that nearly every rep range works for growing muscle. So it leaves a little bit of question out there. What's all this kind of disagreement? Why do people do certain rep ranges, and why do some people have a difference of opinion on what you should do? You have a lot of people that are on the low volume side that will say you just need to train 1 set to failure, or you just need to train heavy 3x5s and put it up 5 pounds every week, and that's how you're going to see muscular gains. So if all these things are equated, then why do people have such strong opinions on how you should train and what rep ranges you should use, and why is there so many different ones out there? The answer to the questions on rep ranges is there is no perfect one. You have to essentially pick a rep range, between the 3 and 30 mark, or probably in more practical terms, the 5 and 15 mark, and stick to it, be consistent. The number one commonality with any rep range, with any success, when it comes to exercise, is intelligent exercise selection, effort, and consistency. These are the things that will really make the difference. There is no perfect rep range. What you want to do in a practical approach is essentially train a rep range that motivates you. If you feel motivated and you feel good when you do 5 sets of 10, do 5 sets of 10. If you feel motivated and good when you do 3 sets of 5, do 3 sets of 5. Do that for 3 months or until it stops working, and then just change to another rep range that you feel motivated to do. Now, why do some people have such big opinions on what rep ranges you should use? Why is there such disagreement in the field, and why do so many people have so many different approaches? By the by, usually what happens is, let's say for instance you have someone and they train 3 sets of 5 and they train it for 3 months and they don't see any progress there. They have some decent newbie gains and then it kind of halts and they don't really know what to do. And then their friend recommends to them that no, you can't do that low volume, you've got to do some high volume if you want to see some gains. And all of a sudden they start doing 5 sets of 10 and they miraculously grow, and they think, oh my god, 5 sets of 10 is hands down the best way to work out. Everyone has to do 5 sets of 10. It's got to be a high volume approach or nothing. That comes about not because 5 sets of 10 was magic, because in another scenario, you have someone that trained 5 sets of 10 for 3 months, got all the results they were really going to get with it, and then they came to a halt and they maybe plateaued for a few months, and then they went down to one heavy set of 5 to all out failure, and they started to see gains again. Oh my god, it's not high volume that gets you growth, it's high intensity. You've got to be a high intensity trainer, you've got to do the Mike Menser stuff.
You're thinking your favorite girlfriend standing here in the nude, titillating you, if you have to, whatever it takes.
That happened because they got used to one way of training, their body plateaued, and then they changed the variation up. What those gains and those strong opinions have been cemented in is essentially someone who have been doing one type of training for a long period of time, changed it up, and then seen a world of gains. And the reason that that happens is because the change in stimulus, not anything about the given rep range itself. Now, how should you implement this in your programs? Because there is actually some rep ranges that I would say are wrong in a given context. And what I'll say about that is that although there is no perfect rep range, all of them do work. There are certain rep ranges that don't work with certain exercises. Usually when you're doing a smaller isolation exercise, let's say something like a lateral raise, there's no sense in doing sets of heavy 5s on it. The reason being is because in a lot of these isolation movements, there's not many muscles being worked, and essentially, you take something like a lateral raise, the weight's here, your shoulder's here, so your base of power, what you're working, and how far away the actual gravitational pull is, creates a scenario in which, yeah, you can absolutely spam lateral raises with 3 sets of 12 or even a set of 20, but if you try and start doing heavy triples or 1 rep maxes, you're going to probably snap your shit up. So you're going to get shoulder issues. So a lot of these rep ranges don't work in those scenarios, the same way as like you're probably not well off doing a 1 rep max or a heavy set of 3 or even really a heavy set of 5 on something like cable curls, because it just doesn't make sense within the context. It's only working one muscle at a time. So there is definitely a bias. I think you can train most compound lifts in any kind of given rep range, but when it comes to isolations, you have to probably skew to the higher end of the field. Usually for your isolation exercise, be that like a strict bicep curl or a strict tricep extension or lateral raises, those types of exercises should usually be done a minimum of 8 reps, and you can probably take them honestly all the way up to 20 if you want. There's no kind of issue there. You'll maybe find on the kind of higher end of that, the 20, that your cardio becomes more of an issue before the actual cumulative fatigue, but I would say that's probably a safe rep range to work in, and you can choose any rep range within that. 3 sets of 15, 3 sets 8 to 12, 3 sets of 20, just whatever you want to do, you can do it. Whatever you find motivational, whatever feels good, that's the one that you should stick to. There is obviously, of course, the context as well that you can maybe go too high for your compound lifts. So when it comes to something like, let's say, front squats, doing 5 sets of 20 in front squats, you're probably going to train your wrists and your shoulders before you ever really fatigue your legs in a meaningful way. your cardio, your wrists, your mobility is probably going to hold you back rather than your actual leg strength. So there is a time and a context as well where high reps on compound lifts can sometimes be too much. So I would recommend not doing something as high as 20 reps. I would say the highest that you can really go for things like, front squats or whatever, these kind of compound movements, is about 15 reps. And even then, there is variation in that. One of the best programs for squats, for instance, barbell back squats, is super squats, and that has you do one set of 20 rep squats, basically training beyond failure. So you can definitely get away with a lot when it comes to what rep ranges you use. I think your main takeaway from this video, what I need to kind of outline is clear information, because I've been throwing a lot of seemingly unrelated information out in a very kind of haphazard way. I would say that the best approach for your rep ranges is just to do something you like and something that feels comfortable. Make it consistent across the board. Make it fairly simple for yourself to follow and execute it until it stops working. And when it stops working, change up the rep ranges. This one was a little bit quick to put together. I hadn't brought a video out this week, and I had also promised that I wasn't going to just spam the cup videos. I wasn't going to spam the reversing the dirty ball. I wanted to give something else. I had a friend actually recently ask me about rep ranges and what the perfect one was, and I thought that was a great idea for a video. As you may be able to tell, this one was unscripted, a little bit off the cuff, but I thought best just to get this information out to you guys as quickly as I can, especially as I'm feeling inspired to do it. So let me know in the comments down below, what is your favourite rep range, and does it change for given exercises? And let me know as well, let me know if you disagreed with anything I said, if maybe you're someone that really likes doing heavy lateral raises, or maybe you're someone that likes doing super high rep front squats. If this kind of content interests you, please give the video a like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you can stay up to date with videos such as this outlining programming, some of my challenge videos, trying supplements, and as well my kind of day in the life vlog videos where I update my cut